Okay, fourth grade. Today we're going to focus on prime numbers, 2 by 2 multiplication, and then long division. You can go ahead and check your answers. If you have the same answers that I have for each of these three problems, and you've shown your work for those problems, you may skip through to the main course of the video and work from there. If not, you can follow along with the appetizer and find out how to solve these problems and correct your work on your paper. Okay, so first we're going to start with the prime numbers. When I'm talking about prime numbers, I'm thinking to myself, what are the factors of those numbers? And so I'm just going to make a simple t-chart for each of the factors. So I have for each of the numbers 2, I have 4, and I have 23, I have 25, and I have 62. Okay, so the first thing I'm always going to do is 1 in itself for all of these, because that's the easiest factor pair to find. Okay, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to think to myself, are there any other factor pairs I can find? Well, if I have 1 and 2 already, are there any whole numbers between 1 and 2 that I could try? No. And so that makes 2 a prime number. So I'm going to go ahead and circle 2. Okay. Then I'm going to go on to 4. I have 1 and 4 already, so the next number I'll try will be 2. Okay. 2 times what makes 4, or 4 divided by 2 is what? So 2 times 2 makes 4. So this automatically is not a prime number because it has another set of factor pairs, whereas 2 only had 1 and 2. Okay. Then for 23, I'm going to try 2. Oh, but I don't even have to try 2 because it's not an even number, and only even numbers are divisible by 2. So I can skip 2 and I can go to 3. So I know my factors of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and then 24 goes past, so that doesn't work, so I'm going to erase 3. All of the factors of 4 are also even, so I can't use 4. Okay, and then 5 would be 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25, which is too far. 6 would be 6, 12, 18, and then 24. That's too far. And 7, 14, 21, 28, so no. 8 would be 8, 16, and then 24 would be too much, so I could try 9, 18, 27, and 10 wouldn't work because it doesn't end in a 0, okay? 11 doesn't work because it would be 22, 11 and then 22. And then 12 will go all the way past this, which would be 24. So there are no other factors for 23, which makes 23 a prime number. Okay. Ooh, for 25, I already know a factor pair for it, so I'm not even going to worry about finding any others because I know that 5 times 5 makes 25, so that makes this number composite. It's not prime anymore. Okay. Oh, and then for the 62, it's even. Since it has a 2 in the ones place, that means it's automatically divisible by 2 somewhere. Is it important that I know the other factor pair? Not necessarily, but it wouldn't be hard to find. So 2 goes into 6 3 times. Times 2 is 6. When I subtract, I get 0, bring it down to 2. 2 goes into 2 once, and then when I subtract, I get a remainder of 0. So that makes my factors for 62, 2 and 31. Okay. So I found my 2 prime numbers as 2 and 23. And now I'm moving on to my multiplication. Today I will do regrouping first, and then I will do partial products. Alright, so first for regrouping. I'm going to start with 1s times 1s, which is 3 times 5 is 15. Regroup the 1. Then 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 more makes 13. Since there's nowhere to regroup, I just put the number down. Then I cross out the 1s place, and I zero out the 1s place. And I do 7 times 5, which is 35. You have to do it in this order. You can't do it in any other order when you do regrouping. And then 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3 more makes it 31. So when I add those, I get 5, an 8, a 2, and a 3. So my answer is 3,285. Okay. So if you're going to do partial products on this one, the advantage to partial products is that you don't have to go in the same order each time. Okay, so I'm going to break apart these two numbers. I'm going to do 40 plus 5 and 70 plus 3. And then I'm just going to set up simple multiplication problems for each. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 5 up here. And I know I'm going to have to multiply it by both parts down here. So 5 times 70 and move my paperwork over so I give myself a little bit more room to write. And then I need to do 5 times 3. That's the other part down below. Now I'm done with 5. Okay, now I'm going to do 40 times the bottom, which is 70, and 40 times 3. Then I like to go through and put my zeros in first. There's 1 0 there, 2 there, none, and then just 1. And then that just leaves basic multiplication facts for me. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 7 is 28. And then 4 times 3 is 12. So when I add those numbers up, I get 0, 5, 0, 0 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. 3 plus, let's do 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 8 more is 12. Regroup the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So I get 3,285. Okay. On to long division. For long division, you could either do the box method or you could do like straight down like we've been doing with long division. Okay, but the steps are dad, mom, sister, brother, Rover, which is divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then repeat. Okay. I think I'm going to do box method first, but I'm going to do it down here out of the way a little bit so that you can see the similarities. Since I have a 4-digit number, I need 4 columns, and I'm putting one of those columns or numbers in each of these. And then what I'm dividing by, or my divisor, goes on the outside. Okay, so 3 can go into 9. How many groups of 3 are in 9? Well, there's 3. 3 times 3 is 9. When I subtract, I get 0. 0 over, it doesn't change the 4 at all. So 3 goes into 4 just once, and then 1 times 3 is 3. You subtract, you get a 1. This one I need to take over and put in front of the 2, and it becomes 12. How many groups of 3 can I get out of 12? Well, 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 4 groups. 4 times 3 is 12. When I subtract, I get 0. When I bring the 0 over, it doesn't change the 5, but I still have to show it. Okay. 3 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Since I have nowhere else to put this, this becomes my remainder of 2. So my answer is 3,141, remainder 2. Now, if you were to do that with long division, you're going to get the same answer, but it just looks a little bit different. So I'll do that now. So 3 comes to the door, asks 9, how many groups of 3 can we make? And 9 says 3. 3 times 3 for multiplying equals 9. Then I'm going to subtract 9 minus 9 and get 0. Then I'm going to bring down the 4. Okay. 3 is going to ask 4 how many groups of 3 you can make, and 4 responds with just 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So when I subtract, I get 1. So now I'm going to bring down the 2. So now I have 12 here. 3 is going to ask 12 how many groups of 3 can we make, and the answer is 4. So then I multiply 4 times 3 is 12. I get 0, so now I'm going to bring down my 5. 3 asks 5 how many groups of 3 we can make, and 5 says 1. 1 times 3 is 3, and I'm running out of room. When I subtract, I get 2. Since there's nothing else to bring down, this goes straight up to become my remainder of 2. So I still got 3,141 with a remainder of 2. All right, now we're going to move on to today's main course. Today, in our main course, we're going to be working on classifying quadrilaterals. Okay, and so the first thing we need to know is that a quadrilateral is any shape that has exactly 4 sides. Okay, so I could come up with lots of quadrilaterals right now that have exactly 4 sides. 4, and I could do 1, 2, 3, 4. All of those are quadrilaterals because they have exactly 4 sides. Not 3, not 5, but exactly 4. So then what we're going to do is we're going to think of some other types of quadrilaterals that are more specific than just 4-side. Okay? When we're talking about quadrilaterals today, we're going to be focusing on both their sides and their angles. And so you'll see us talk about angles here in a second too. We're going to make an arrow down to parallelogram and an arrow down to trapezoid. And the reason why is a quadrilateral that a parallelogram, has 4 sides too. Okay? But it has something special about its four sides. You can see that in the definition of parallelogram, you see quadrilateral. So all trapezoids are quadrilaterals. All parallelograms are quadrilaterals. Okay. In this case, a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. Actually, let's do trapezoid first. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with only one pair of, and we're going to talk about parallel sides. So it still has to be four-sided because it's a quadrilateral, but it has to have one set of parallel sides, not two. So I'm going to start by drawing two parallel sides like this. And then I'm going to make this one come down like this and connect. So there's 1, 2, and then let's do 3, 4. Okay, so I have four sides, and then this symbol right here means that these sides are parallel. Okay, it's like a little arrow that's sitting on top of the sides. Okay, so these two sides are parallel, these two are not. That's what makes it a trapezoid. Okay, to be a parallelogram, though, you have to still be four-sided because you're quadrilateral, but you have to have two pairs of parallel sides. So we're still talking about parallel sides. So in this case, I still want my two sides to be parallel, but I also want my other two sides. These two also have to be parallel. Okay, so to show that with the symbols, the little arrows with this to show those two sides are parallel. And then these two sides are also parallel, so I'm going to give them two arrows to show that they are also parallel. Okay. All right, and then on the next one, or where do we go from here? I guess the next thing that we should probably talk about really quickly is that there can be, hold on, sorry about that. There can be other quadrilaterals that are still four sides. I'm going to kind of draw a funny line down to this one. It's any shape that has four sides, or exactly four sides, none of which are, well, these were parallel and these were parallel, so these have to have none that are parallel. So let's think of a shape. So like this shape has no parallel sides, but there's four of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so it's a quadrilateral with four sides, none of them are parallel. That's another quadrilateral. Okay. All right, so now we're going to focus a little bit more just on the parallelogram side, and we're going to talk now about the sides and the angles of that parallelogram. Okay, so you can classify a. Okay, sorry about that. All right, we are going to go ahead and talk about special types of parallelograms. So I want you to draw a line from parallelogram to rectangle, and then another line from parallelogram to rhombus. Okay, because both of these have parallelogram in their definition, which means that both a rectangle and a rhombus are a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, and they also have four sides because they're also a quadrilateral. So you can kind of trace the arrows up to find all their attributes. So you could say a rhombus. Well, let's go ahead and do our definition first, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, a parallelogram with, and so for a rhombus, it's going to be four equal sides. So that means I would need to measure the sides, like with a ruler or with another piece of paper, to double check that they're all the same length. Okay. Now, a rectangle doesn't have equal sides. I guess you have to write that. Doesn't have equal sides, but it actually has equal angles, but they're all four right angles. Okay, which makes them equal because they're all 90 degrees. Okay, so if I were to give attributes of a rhombus, I could say a rhombus has four equal sides, it has two pairs of parallel sides, and it has exactly four sides. Those are all the attributes that you could say for a rhombus. Okay, so a rhombus and a rectangle. Rectangle, let's see, has to have two pairs of parallel sides, just like before with the parallelogram. Okay, but instead of being slanted, it has to be right angles. Okay, so this one's parallel to that one. These are parallel to these. There's exactly four sides. Okay, for a rhombus, it doesn't matter if the angles are equal. It matters that the sides are equal. So they still have to be parallel lines. Okay, I'm going to try to make them as equal in length as I can just by guessing. Okay, so parallel, parallel, and then these two are parallel. So that's a rhombus. Okay. Now, square is the most special type because it is all of the above. Okay. a parallelogram with 4 right angles